I walked toward him. The young man couldn't have been older than 20. His backpack looked worn out. His jacket wasn't warm enough for the weather. He avoided eye contact. "Do you need help?" I asked. He hesitated, then quietly replied, "I missed my last train. I've been sitting here for 3 hours. I called everyone I know. No one answered." His voice cracked. "I just want to get home." I stared at him for a moment. 30 years disappeared in an instant. It was as if I were looking at Arthur all over again. Without saying another word, I reached into my wallet. I bought him a train ticket. Then I walked across the street and ordered him a hot meal. He looked at me in disbelief. "Why are you doing this?" I smiled. "Because someone once did the same for me." He laughed softly. "I'll pay you back." I shook my head. "No, just promise me one thing. When life gives you the chance, help someone else." For a second, his expression changed, almost as if he'd heard those words before. He nodded. "I promise." The train arrived a few minutes later. Before stepping inside, he turned around. "Sir, I never asked your name." "It's Ben." He smiled. "I'll never forget it." As the train disappeared into the distance, I looked down at the notebook Arthur had left me. One final page remained unread. I slowly opened it. The last entry wasn't written by Arthur. It was written by someone else. The handwriting was fresh. It simply said, "If you're reading this, the chain continues." I frowned. There was today's date beneath it. Today's date. That was impossible. Arthur had passed away weeks earlier. Someone had written this after his death. I quickly looked around the station. The platform was almost empty. Only one elderly janitor was sweeping the floor. As I walked toward him, he smiled before I could even speak. "You're looking for answers." I froze. "How do you know my name?" He leaned on the broom. "Arthur talked about you for years. He believed you'd come." "You knew him?" The old man nodded. "For over 50 years. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out another silver coin, exactly like the one Arthur had given me decades ago. "There are more of us." I stared at him. "What do you mean?" He smiled. "We're ordinary people. Teachers, mechanics, nurses, drivers, retired workers. People who were once helped by complete strangers. And when our lives changed, we promised to pass that kindness forward." He looked toward the train disappearing on the horizon. Arthur wasn't the first, and he won't be the last. I suddenly understood. This had never been about one old man. It had never been about one dinner or one train ticket. It was something much bigger, a chain that had quietly connected strangers for generations. The janitor handed me a small envelope. "Arthur wanted you to have this only after you helped someone else." Inside was a simple membership card. No company logo, no address. Just one sentence embossed in silver letters. "Leave every life better than you found it." At the bottom, there was one blank line. "Member number 842. I looked up. "What is this?" The old man smiled. "Now it's your turn." And before I could ask another question, he picked up his broom, walked down the empty platform, and somehow disappeared into the crowd that hadn't been there a moment before. I stood there holding the silver card. For the first time in my life, I realized something. Maybe the greatest stories aren't about finding treasure. Maybe they're about becoming someone else's miracle. And without even noticing, I slipped the card into my wallet, right beside the train ticket I had bought for a stranger. 30 years ago, I stood there for a long time, holding the silver card in one hand and Arthur's notebook in the other. The station slowly became quiet. People disappeared. The train stopped. The old janitor was gone. It was over, or so I thought. As I walked toward my car, my phone rang. It was my daughter. "Dad, you won't believe this." Her voice was shaking. "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong. It's just..." She paused. "I was driving home from work tonight. My car broke down. I was completely alone. I didn't know what to do." Then she laughed through tears. "A stranger stopped. He fixed the car. He refused to take any money." I smiled. "What did he say?" She became quiet, then whispered. "He said, someone once helped my grandfather when he had nothing." I stopped walking. The world suddenly felt incredibly small. She continued. "Before leaving, he handed me this." A picture arrived on my phone. It was a photograph of an old silver coin, exactly like Arthur's. Only this one looked newer. On the back, someone had engraved 4 simple words. "Keep it moving forward." I looked up at the evening sky. For the first time, I realized something. Kindness doesn't travel in circles. It travels through people. You never know where it will go, or whose life it will reach next. 30 years ago, I thought I had bought one train ticket. I was wrong. That ticket never expired. It simply kept changing passengers. And maybe, right now, someone is alive, smiling, or finally going home. Because one freezing winter night, a tired young man decided not to walk past a stranger sitting alone on a bench. I still carry Arthur's silver coin, not because it's valuable, but because every time I hold it, it reminds me of one simple truth. The smallest act of kindness can become someone else's greatest story. And maybe, one day, without even knowing it, yours will too. The end.